Hello, and welcome to this video presentation. Today's topic is installing a hex editor into IBM Transformation Extender Design Studio. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter at PaulBrettIBM to be notified about further content on my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's start with our ITX 9 Design Studio open. As you can see, I have one project, and within that one project I have a file called input.txt. If I double click on that, you will note that there are two lines in the text file, and in between each of these words is what looks like a space. Well, although they all look like a space, I do know that between these two words this character here is not a space. However, it does look like one when opened in a text editor. It is actually what's called a non-breaking space and can cause validation problems if your map is expecting spaces. Okay, so this is where the hex editor can come in real handy, but there is not one included with the Design Studio. Fortunately, there is a way to install one, as per the video title. This is all about installing the Eclipse Hex Editor Plugin. So let's do that now. Okay, so there are two ways to install the software. The first way is to actually point manually to the actual repo that is out on the internet. And the second way is to download the software first and then point to the plugin from a local file. The first way is preferable because you know you're getting the latest version. The second way may be necessary if you have no access to the internet on the Design Studio machine, for example. So we'll go through both methods and we'll start with the repo method. So I'm just going to copy that link to clipboard. Oh, by the way, both these links will be in the notes for the video. Okay, so in Transformation Extender, I'm going to go into the Help menu and choose Install New Software. I'm going to click on the available software sites, and you will note that the EHEP repo is not listed anywhere there. So I'm going to add that now. I'm going to call it EHEP and paste in the location of that online repo. And click OK. Okay, so that's been added to the available software sites. If I now drop down the list and actually click that site as a place I want to search for updates, there's a quick pending shown there as it was searching. I'm going to take this tick out of Group Items by Category, and this is what we want: net.sourceforge.ehep version 1.1.0. I'm now going to click that, tick that there, click Next. And then we get the install details, which I shall just click Next. We accept the license agreement and click Finish. Then it goes off and gets the installation, the software, and any certificates that it needs to install. It will inform you about. I'm just going to agree that all the certificates. There we go. It says there's some unsigned content. I'm just going to say that's fine. I'm going to tick this box to say that I do trust all these certificates. I've been through this many times, so I actually do. I've done the research. And then when the software is actually finished installing, the Design Studio is going to request that you restart to apply those changes. So let's do that now. Do you want to restart? Yes. And after a short pause, the Design Studio will restart. Okay, so back into our project 1, and if we expand miscellaneous here and we double click on input.txt, here is our input file still, but let's close that for the moment and instead right click and choose Open with Other, and then from the list of editors that are available there's a new one that's been added that wasn't there before, which is Hex Editor. And if we open that file, we'll see that we've got an ASCII representation column which shows the file, but we've also got all the bytes. In the ASCII representation, unprintable characters are shown as dots, and as you can see between the words and this, rather than displaying as a space, we've got this question mark in a diamond. And if we have a look at that particular place in the file, we can see that it is actually a hex byte A0, which is a non-breaking space. And in this file we can now, if we want to, just overwrite that with a 20, which is an actual proper space, and the file is now corrected, and this is now perfectly acceptable for my map, which is expecting spaces between those words. Right, okay, I'm going to close this without saving it for the moment, and I'm going to show you that if you have the file opened with Hex Editor once, next time you double click it will open in the Hex Editor again, so it will remember the last editor you used. For now I'm just going to open with Text Editor, and there's the file, and I'm also going to open with the Hex Editor, so I'm going to have the file open in two different windows. And I'm just going to drag that over there to do a split. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Come on, come on, there we go. Right, you will note that if I do make a change to the hex version of the file, the standard editor will recognise that change and will want to do an update. So let's do that AO byte again, back to 20. And the star has appeared to show that the file has been changed. So if I hit Control S to save the file, if I now switch back to this window, actually that's not actually worked. I don't know why, but normally that would have told me that there was going to be an update to that file. Not sure why that's not working at the moment. Oh, maybe I need to just do a refresh here. Refresh. Nope, not working at all. Not sure what that is. It's not important. Okay, so the important thing to note is that if you do any change to this side of the file, for example changing a line to third and save, this Hex Editor window will never update. So if you are going to make any changes and you do need the Hex Editor window to update, you do have to close it and open it again with the open with command, choose other and hex. And then it will get the updated content that you changed in the ASCII version of the file, which we see here, third. Okay, so that's one way of installing the software and how you would potentially use it. Let's restore the Design Studio back to the way it was and show you the second way, the downloading the file. I'm going to quit Design Studio there, run a quick script to restore the Design Studio. And while that's doing that in the background, I will go off and use the link that I showed you in that document to grab a copy of the file from the internet. Okay, so oops, that didn't work, did it? Okay, let's try that again. Right click, Control C, run, paste, bosh. Okay. So on the web page, this is assuming that we're using another machine here, not our Design Studio machine, because in this scenario the Design Studio machine does not have internet access. We grab a copy of the EHEP.03.1.1.zip file, and we then get that in our downloads folder and copy it to our Design Studio machine in our downloads folder, for example. So let's assume that I've done that, and in our downloads folder we have here the EHEP.zip file, which I have expanded to two directories that it contains, features and plugins. Okay, so we've got this zip file, we've got it expanded, it's in our downloads folder. Let's fire up the Design Studio and show you the second installation method. I assume the script is finished. It has. Okay, so our Design Studio is now back to the state it was before I did the first installation, so the Hex Editor won't be installed. I'll expand my Project 1 and my miscellaneous, and I will right click and open with and choose Other, and show you that the Hex Editor is not in the list of available editors. It goes straight from feature to HTML. Hex Editor would be between those two if it was there. So here's the second installation method. From the Help menu we choose Install New Software. Again, we need to check the available software sites. EHEP not listed there. We're going to add a site. This time it's going to be a local directory, and we're going to point to our downloads directory, I'm going to call this again EHEP. You can call it anything you like, but I'm just going to use that. It's ticked, it's in there now, and let's go and choose it from the drop down list, EHEP. This time there's a little warning saying there are no categorized items, so it's very important to again untick this group items by category. And we're back to exactly the same as we was before, net.sourceforge.ehep. I tick that box, I click next. There's my software that I want to install, I click next. I accept the license agreement and finish. And pretty much apart from that first piece where it was slightly different, pointing to a local directory, the rest of the installation runs exactly the same as it did in the first time. Only 3 unsigned content warnings here rather than the 4 on the previous one. Not important. I'm going to agree to trust those certificates. And then once the software is finished installing, again it's going to ask me to restart my design studio, which I shall do now. And there we go, Design Studio 9 back up and running. Right click on a text file and choose Open with Other. And again we will find that Hex Editor is in our list, and we can open it up, and there we go, we have the Hex Editor, so we can make changes to files and, if necessary, spot where characters aren't what they appear to be. It's also handy for when describing test case to support to indicate the byte offset of a character if you're having mapping issues that are specific to certain byte sequences. You can say it's in 3.6, and you say, because there's hex byte 6.4, for example, and it's an exact science. There's no, I'll look along to the 4th line of the file and it's about a third of the way along. This is more exact. It's hex byte 3.6, and it also matches up with what's listed in the trace files when you use them from the mapping engine, which also lists offsets as hex offsets. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you find the Hex Editor to be a useful addition to your design studio. Have a great day. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope you found the content both interesting and informative. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter at PaulBrettIBM to be notified about further content on my YouTube channel. Thank you.